Deion Sanders issues three-word demand to NFL after son Shedder's draft slide triggers $100 trouble. The truth may not be as popular as a lie, but the truth wins in the end. As Deion Sanders proclaimed this statement after Shedder Sanders' draft slide, his experiment with multifaceted truths and lies still goes on. But in the meantime, which truth is the absolute truth? The truth that Coach Prime is advocating with his repeated statements, or the truth that 32 NFL teams and their GMs saw? Surely there's no black and white answer to this, and if Friedrich Nietzsche taught us anything, perhaps no one has yet been truthful enough about what truthfulness is. So, amid this tussle with truths and lies, Coach Prime again has come out with a scathing statement asserting his version of the truth. If you think it all started with that infamous NFL Combine interview of Shedder, then you are massively misguided. Sure, Shedder's interview was not taken as humble by the NFL GMs, but the QB never advocated being that way. We saw that with his iconic multi-million-dollar watch flex celebration or his constant showing off of his luxury possessions. Maybe the scouts and coach who termed Shedder arrogant were living under a rock because Shedder never hid his personality. It was always there to begin with. But despite that misunderstood attitude, one thing remained constant for Shedder. The player never failed to deliver on the field, as we saw the QB delivering more than 7,000 yards at Jackson State. And in Colorado, well, Shedder's influence on the field became more pronounced as he delivered 4,134 passing yards in 2024 and took a lesser-known Buffs team to a 9-4 finish. To put things into perspective as to how massive the feat was, the last time the Buffs produced a winning season was almost a decade ago in 2016. So with these records and stats in the glaring spotlight, Deion Sanders couldn't hold himself back. The Buffs head coach posted a three-word reply on his IG story and wrote, "Did they forget?" But more important than this brief statement was the stat sheet the head coach posted with his message. The sheet posted with Shedder's photo read, "Among the 35 NCAA QBs that faced 140-plus pressures last year, Shedder Sanders had the most TDs 12, the highest passer rating 95.6, and the most passing yards 1,117. Is any of this true? Well, as said earlier, there isn't a single facet of the truth, and the above statement is more complex than it looks. For context, in terms of PFF's overall grade, Shedder was the third-rated QB in all FBS teams with a rating of 90.9. Moreover, the QB's pressure-to-sack rate was 20.1%, and he stood 19th overall in the country last year. As for the PFF under-pressure grade, it becomes even lower as Shedder's performance under pressure declined significantly. The former Buffs QB has a 64.3 grade from PFF and stands in 8th position amongst all QBs in terms of performance under pressure. Sure, the stat sheet Deion Sanders posted is incredibly accurate when you see it from a sheer numbers perspective. But when you scrutinize it deeper, several layers start unearthing themselves. Yet all of this doesn't mean that Shedder deserved to go in the 5th round, as his deep throws graded a 94.8 rating, graded 4th in the draft class, and his play under structure without RPO showed throws under 2.5 seconds, ranked 3rd nationally. $100 million trouble for NFL teams after Shedder's draft snub? Well, the NFL draft this year had more thrills and spills than a Bourne movie. It had every unexpected turn, and with Shedder's shocking case, well, even the people who never watched the draft beyond the 1st round saw maybe the whole thing over 3 days. But for many Shedder and Colorado fans, it somewhat became a nightmare, and one of those fans has recently sued the NFL, demanding $100 million in compensation. The person, identified as John Doe from Georgia, alleges that the NFL teams colluded to influence the drafting process of Sanders through reports and leaked statements that suggested Sanders tanked interviews, wasn't prepared, and was too cocky. The plaintiff alleges severe emotional distress and trauma from witnessing the NFL draft. He also alleged racial discrimination by the NFL teams. Not only this, but the person, being a longtime fan of the Buffs, said that he witnessed Shedder's performance firsthand against TCU and alleges harm as a fan and consumer. The lawsuit brings with it allegations of Antitrust Act and Civil Rights Act violations, and also violations of the consumer protection laws.